Finally, I'm coming on to talk about escaping the matrix, shifting your identity, quantum leaping, timeline shifting, and what we call time travel. So, I've mentioned these things in the past. I've been talking about them, but this is the video where I'm really going to go into depth and talk about it all. And this is not something that I'm just going to talk about in one video. This is something that we're going to keep talking about. I have been discovering and experiencing and seeing for myself and researching all of these things that seem to be new to the manifesting community. But the truth is that the more that you challenge limits as they come up, and the more that you pursue an idea, the more that the universe is going to open up more like that for you. So as I've been studying this and witnessing it and looking at it, it's been getting bigger. And I'm seeing that there's so much more that is possible than we ever thought was possible. And there's people living lives that we could only dream of. And all of this really has to do with pushing the limits that present themselves to you because you create your own reality and discovering what's on the other side of that. So there's a lot to talk about here. This is really big, but you can manifest such big changes in your life and in yourself because you do. From moment to moment, you are manifesting different versions of you. The key is to recognize how you're doing that and when that's happening. You want to recognize when that's happening so that you can navigate that. And then you're manifesting different realities, different versions of other people. Well, if you just knew how to recognize that, then you could do that at will, right? So I'm going to start here with identity. Okay. So there's been a lot of changes with me. I've changed a lot of things. I've been being the living version of myself who is wanting to learn all of these things firsthand and study it and experience it firsthand. And I've been willing to be the mad scientist and do whatever it is that is needed in order for me to see just how it is that this works. There's a lot of people who are born in this generation that they just feel like out of place and like this place doesn't make sense. Life doesn't make sense. None of this is real. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because you create your own reality. And we're figuring out how to do that more and more and more. Okay. So people ask me, like, why people pay attention to the circumstances, like, why did you change this? And why did you do that? And why Dr. Cupcake? And why, why this, why that, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I change my name to Dr. Cupcake. It doesn't matter if I want to change my name to something else tomorrow. It doesn't matter if my style changes. It doesn't matter if I change the way I'm doing my makeup, or if I change something about myself, or if I change my hair, I wear my hair up now. None of these things matter. And this is part of the whole identity shifting aspect is if you want to escape the illusion of the matrix. So you want to live as a version of yourself who knows the difference and lives the difference between the illusory reality and the reality that you manifest on purpose, that you deliberately shift into, right? So if you want to live as a free being who knows how to shift timelines at will, then you will know the difference between the avatar version of you that you're walking around in, the human bodysuit, the mental body aspect that is the ego, not you, the emotions that you're experiencing that are also not you, the story that is not you, and the memories that are not you, all of the things that are not you. You have to know these are not you. So you have to know the difference between your avatar ego version of yourself and what is really truly you if you want to be able to travel in this space-time reality and bring into your experience the version of reality that you want to experience and the things that you want to experience. Okay, so we're going to get we're going to get really deep into this. There's a lot to this. This video, I've been trying to work on this video, and I'm like, there's so much in this video, and I'm just going to put it all here for you guys. So make sure that you watch all the way until the end, because there's a lot of videos out there. And I've also been living this firsthand. I've seen so many things that are not supposed to be possible, not supposed to be real, and yet they happen. And I have all these memories of things that are not supposed to be able to happen, and yet they happen. And there's so much more that you can do. You can timeline shift from one reality to the next overnight. And you can learn to do these things at will. And it doesn't have to be hard. And so part of this is learning how to collapse time. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter who or what you want to manifest either, because if you learn how to do this, you'll know how to do it for anything or anyone that you want. So if you want a person, and if you want, doesn't matter what it is you want to be different about them, that's in the bag. And it doesn't matter what you want at all. So it really, I don't really need to make this like about manifesting a person, because that's just limiting to you, right? You can manifest an entirely different life. Okay. So the first breakdown is your human bodysuit is not you. Your name is not you. Your thoughts are not you. Your stories are not you. Your emotions are not you. Your perspectives, your personality traits, characteristics, your beliefs, your memory, your stories, none of those things are you, and your emotions are not you. Okay, you are the eternal watcher. Nothing can affect what you truly really are. So if you want to be able to travel from dimension to dimension and timeline shift from one timeline to another, where there's a different set of circumstances and a different version of you, meditation is necessary, mindfulness is necessary, and presence, being able to be present, meaning not in time. So when you are stuck in the mind and the mind is talking, the mind is putting you in time. And that actually, time is attached to space. Time and space go together. So if you're in time, then you are also trapped in circumstances too. So the only way to get out of that is to train yourself the difference between the fake ego avatar version of you that is walking around and thinking and has a personality and an opinion versus who you really actually are. So doing that does not actually have to take a lot of time. Now, this is what I mean about pushing limits. When you push a limit that has been presented to you, you will be presented with a reality that is beyond that limit. And living this has been really cool. Just knowing that. And it's not that you expect anything to happen right away. It's just like you choose what you believe right off the bat. And there's no limit. Like you literally, this is not like, I come from a reality where the whole manifesting thing is like Dr. Cupcake the quack, like weird, like people don't believe it and it's not really real and there's no proof. But like we don't live in that reality anymore. This is like scientifically proven fact over and over and over and over from so many different like scientific like venues. It is not even funny. So if you or anyone else that you know thinks that this is like not real, not true, not proven, that is absolutely like they don't know their science. This is absolutely proven in so many different ways from so many different places. Okay. And I'm not going to get into that, but I am saying that the fact that you create your own reality and that your reality is a holographic projection of your consciousness, that is a scientifically proven fact. So there. So this is what it is. And you can just go deeper and deeper and deeper and more and more and more with this. So once you are able to, now one of the limits that presented itself to me was, oh, you have to becoming present and meditating and learning how to get out of time, like learning how to take control of your mind again and becoming present and escaping that, like that takes time. Okay, like no, it doesn't. I am not a god in training. You're not a god in training. We're already the gods of our reality. We already created all. There's already no time. Everything that could possibly exist already exists now. There's no time. There's nothing to wait for. There's nothing that takes time. And so at the same time as you know that nothing takes time, you still continue going in the direction of whatever it is that puts you, the real eternal consciousness, in charge version of you, in the front seat and in the driver's seat, where you're not getting caught up in the stories of the ego. You're not getting caught up in time. You're not getting caught up in limiting beliefs and in limitations and in thinking, that whatever identity it is that you have that is keeping you from being able to travel from dimension to dimension, from star to star, from timeline to timeline. Okay. So you got to get it right about who you are. And the more that you do that in all of your moments, and the more that you practice that, the more that you are going to be able to travel and create huge timeline shifts in your life at will and quickly. And the more that you're going to be able to recognize when these things are happening, and the more that you're going to be able to steer yourself in the way that you want to be steered to continue manifesting what you want. Because some people, they do a lot of work, they do a lot of energetic work, they do a lot of studying, they do a lot of research, and then they'll manifest something, or like a string of things. And then they fall off because they don't know exactly what they did and they didn't keep doing it. So this, awareness and meditation and maintaining presence, this is like, without this, it is very, very difficult to, or impossible, really. I would say, like, the more that you do that, the more that you're able to navigate your reality deliberately, on purpose, and get reliable results because you know what you are doing. Okay. So on the other side of this avatar thing, well, there's a lot more to say about that. Like, I basically revamped all of my teachings in my super life community to where every month I'm like helping you guys. um I'm bringing on like a new archetype character to, for you to take on as your own in whatever way suits you. This version of you who is the version of you who can um time travel and timeline shift and manifest what you want. Okay. So the identity is very important. Now, here is the overall thing that is holding a lot of people back, like the humans in general, is that we're identifying with a human time space condition that keeps us in a one linear timeline construct, and therefore within this um, limited circumstantial plane. Okay, so you see yourself as having a human body and being confined and limited by that. And also, whatever comes with that condition. So, whatever mental or physical ailments that you have, or whatever limitations that come along with that, you see that as solidly real and not really very changeable, and also not very convenient. And then you see yourself as having one timeline. So you have a very specific, like, past, like whatever happened in the past is what happened in the past, and you can't change that. And it is this particular way, and it is that particular way. And at the same time, whatever past, whatever one past that you're identified with, that you are seeing or experiencing, is determining your future. Oh, well, I can't do blank in my future until I do this thing. Until this thing is in my past, I can't do this thing in my future. Or I did that in my past, so that keeps me from doing this in my future. None of those things are true. Now, what's going on with everyone is you're always shifting from reality to reality, and all of these realities have different timelines with different pasts and presents and experiences of the past and perspectives on the past, and therefore a different perspective on the future. But you're not noticing that this is happening. And so diving like more into these teachings and really becoming more aware and conscious and present and meditating and believing that these things are real, it will it will cause you to become a version of yourself who sees what I'm saying and is able to like place those things in your life. So like when you feel differently or when your mood changes, you have shifted timelines, and you will see your past differently and you will see your future differently. And that is something that is very subtle, and it's happening all the time. But you're not capitalizing on it because you don't quite realize that it's happening. And when it's happening, like let's say in a negative sense, you're holding on to it for longer, more and longer, because you're believing that the experience that you're having has some kind of validity or concrete nature to it or immovability to it. You think there's a really good reason for that thing, and it isn't. So if you really believe that we are living essentially in a simulation, and you are, and that your life, what you're experiencing, is a hologram, and it is, and that everything is fluid and movable depending on your awareness and your consciousness, then you would need to begin the disidentification process with the linear construct and the idea of like the fact that you're human and that you have one specific condition and there's nothing that you have to do that you can do about that. So you have to start like disidentifying from these things if you want to be able to really be, travel from timeline to timeline and change your experiences with much more fluidity and much faster. Now, you don't have to like go to bed and like wake up in a completely different world physically in order to go to bed and change timelines and wake up and notice that you are actually in a completely different reality with a different past, present, and future. Meaning that there's different things that you're going to manifest and come across based on the vibrational shift that you made in that moment or overnight. Okay, but you can, and people have and do wake up in realities that are entirely different, even on a physical level. That is another level. Those things are things that happen when you really pursue this and continue researching and continue, taking the steps to continue learning and doing whatever it is that you're able to do because you really believe in this. The more that you pursue this, the more that you continue learning, the more that you continue going down that path because you believe that this is a real thing, the more that you will find that supports the belief that you're pursuing, and the more that you will find that you come to understand it and finally execute it at will and deliberately. It's something that, I think that the more that we look at, manifesting and timeline shifting and time travel as something that, oh, that's not real, the more that it's going to seem out of reach for you. But these things are real. And like I said, I have found more and more and more science that backs it, and more experiences and more people talking about those experiences and all of that stuff. So you decide how solidly real that you want your life to be. You decide how hard that you want it to be. You decide how immovable that you want it to be. You decide how human and victim that you want to be. Or you can step outside of that human, circumstantial, linear time space victim construct and becomes something more like a time traveler, becomes something more like the God of your reality. The choice is yours. And in every moment, this is happening in every single moment. Every single moment, what are you thinking? Every single moment, what are you believing? Every single moment, what are you pursuing as solidly real? Because in every single moment, you're creating your reality. And for a lot of people, they're just not aware enough to know, what did I think that led up to this? What did I feel? What did I believe that led up to that? But when you practice meditation and mindfulness and being present, the more that you do that, the more that you will take your power back and be able to hold the reins and be able to know exactly what you are doing. And you won't be unconscious about it. If you are experiencing any form of pain or victimhood or feeling like you can't change something, okay, so any form of pain or distress, it means that you are giving power away to circumstances. Anything that you believe about yourself, anything that you believe about reality, anything that you believe about circumstances, these are all illusory constructs. Every single last bit of it is an illusory construct. The only reality is the infinite, eternal now, where anything is possible. Anything. Okay, so let me look at my notes a little bit here, see what else we're looking at here. So, right, disidentify from your human avatar and all of the human constructs that we have agreed to, like, like time space reality being a linear thing. One thing that is really important as well. So here's a couple things. So like I said, challenging limits as they come along, that is really important because that is you declaring what your reality consists of. And then your reality will consist of that. And I call this having an infinite mindset, where you see the walls and you see the limits and you see what it is. It's like being on a movie set. On a movie set, everything looks really, really, really convincingly real. It looks very, very real. But if you start poking around and exploring, you're going to find that it's not real at all. Okay, so infinite mindset is you find ways to challenge limits and get outside your current belief systems. And when you begin entertaining beyond your current belief systems, you will almost immediately start seeing synchronicities, information, or synchronicities that will show you more of what you just declared was real and true for you. So let's see what else. Oh, I have a list here. Okay. I have a list. Okay, so another thing that is really important here is the understanding of oneness. This is something that I heard of a lot, but I never really, really understood it until more recently. So, if everything is a holographic reflection of you, then nothing is apart from you. So, everything that you think of, you are attached to, in the sense that you have an idea or a judgment or a belief system about it. And your idea or your belief system about that thing is what determines how that thing shows up in your reality. So it's not separate from you. It's actually like you're projecting all of it. So everything that you see on the screen of space in your reality and everything that you're experiencing, it's all like your art. It's your own movie that's being projected from you. So when you recognize that that is true, it is very difficult to continue living in fear and to continue seeing things as apart from you, when you know that whatever it is that showed up as fear, like something to fear in your reality, literally came about as a result of the fear that you already had. You created what you feared. And if you look back and think about, if you have the ability to look at your thoughts in the correct way so that you can find how you created the things that you dislike, then you will see and find the correlations where you had a fear about something or a dislike about something, and it always verbatim showed up exactly as you thought about it. Now, that might suck, but it doesn't suck when you use that as your excuse or your permission slip to make the connection again that yes, I surely do create my reality because I surely did have that thought about that thing and it surely did go exactly as I felt and thought about it. Now, the question is, how do I change that? Right? So, again, distance yourself and detach yourself from the version of you that you think is real. That means that whatever the story is about the circumstance at hand, whatever your story is about your past that's holding you back, here's what time travel is. Okay, so if you have the ability to detach from your thoughts, your emotions, your stories, and your identity and your, time, like remembering anything in time, anything about yourself, if you have the ability to detach from everything that is an illusion, that is not real, and just be in a space of detachment. Now, this is a very interesting space because there's different levels of this. You can meditate and slip into a level of detachment that is literally like a shift that you can feel. It's like you slip into this dimension where you feel a sense of detachment. It's very, very visceral, and it feels pretty good. It doesn't feel bad. It just feels, oh, there's something to this. I can feel that I'm in like a totally different state. So if you have the ability to do that, and you're not having intrusive thoughts, your thoughts are not thinking you, then you will have the ability to entertain and visit any reality or any timeline that you want, any possibility that you want, any scene that you want. So visit a time and space are connected. Visit a time and space where something that you desire to play out is happening now, and experience that thing as it is happening now. Feel it as if it is happening now. Think of it as it is happening now. And when you are doing that now, you have just shifted into that timeline. Now, the better that you get at this with your focus and attention, the better that you will get at, number one, staying on that timeline and not veering off, and then also allowing yourself to follow the inspired actions that you receive from that timeline so that it will eventually actually play out. And then when you get even better at focusing your attention in the timeline that you want to reside in or be in, you will be able to decrease the amount of time that it takes to bring it to pass. But when you're good at this and you can feel that you have shifted timelines, you're not in a hurry to make it come to pass because you know that you're there and it's already done and you can feel that. Okay. So the biggest hurdle here is getting yourself to that place of being able to be present and detached from the illusion. So it comes down to what you believe. How much are you identifying as the human avatar that you're occupying? And how much do you know that you can change that identity? If you change your identity to a version of yourself who can change timelines because they know their sovereign, free nature that they have to create, do anything that they want in this world and manifest anything that they want in this world, and they don't get you don't get you don't fall for the illusion or the stories that try to suck you back in or guilt you back in. Here's another thing, especially if you're dealing with people or you want to manifest a specific person. Here is the thing that when I have seen people do this, like it always ruins their life and brings negative things into the present and makes them play out over and over again. So basically, if you have a memory of a past, which if something is not in your now, it literally doesn't have to exist for you. You do not have to bring it into your present. You can switch into a timeline where that memory is not relevant at all. And we do that all the time. There's plenty of things that have happened in your past that you're not thinking about or that you forget about altogether. And then maybe later you remember something that you haven't thought about in a very long time, right? Did it really happen, or you just switched into a timeline where that memory exists? Because time, your past and your future comes from your now. Your past does not create your future, and your past does not create your now, unless if you bring an idea of your past into your now and into your future. So anytime that you are having a memory from the past that you don't like and you're having it in your now, you are bringing that into your future because you're entertaining it now. So anytime that you have resentment, anytime that you have a grudge, anytime that you feel that you have been done wrong and you're upset about what has happened to you and who did what, this will make that negativity continue to play out in your life. And this is especially true and happens with specific person situations. And it is absolutely terrible. So if you identify as a human that has a linear past, you will continue to identify with that past on that timeline. You won't know how to escape it. You're like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. No, it didn't. I'm a new person. I'm a new human today in this moment. I'm a new person. I'm a new human today in this moment. I'm a new person. I'm a new human today in this moment. And if you allow yourself to have that freedom from linear time, space, limiting, constricting reality, then you will experience reality in a completely different way. And you will be able to shift from reality a lot easier. You will be able to shift from timeline to timeline a lot easier. Detachment is really key. Detaching from your identity, detaching from other people's identity, detaching from the identity you have had as a human who is a slave to time and circumstance. This is really revolutionary. This is a new paradigm altogether, but you can live this way and you can experience freedom to manifest that you never knew was possible. And the more that you pursue this, the more that you're going to find and see and experience what is possible for yourself. Keep pushing the envelope. Instead of being obsessed with the thing that you want to manifest, which if you're obsessed with the thing that you want, it just means that you are experiencing the lack of it. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. How do I get it? I want it, I want it, I want it. How do I get it? No, instead of doing that, be obsessed with becoming the version of yourself who knows how to shift timelines and how to detach and remembers who you are. I'm awake. I remember who I am. I know how to do this. I am not this person. I am not a linear time space human. I am God of my reality. I am all things. I am so much more. I have access to everything. I can do anything. It doesn't have to take any time. I have no limitations. If you become obsessed with becoming that version of you, that is what will allow you the fastest ability to traverse realities and change timelines fast, fast, fast. It doesn't have to take any time. Now, don't be insistent and needy and attached and pushy about it. Just be persistent about you, the reality that you are choosing to know, and the version of you that you are choosing to know. Okay. So let me see. Does anybody have any questions here? I'm a master manifester. Okay. I'm going to talk about something that is really important when you're manifesting any reality, and something that I call engagement. So, engagement is the level of focus and attention that you are giving something. So, I have noticed, you can watch a million videos and you can read a million books and you can get a million sessions with me, and not very much is going to change. And how do you know if your level of engagement with what you're looking at is not that good? If your level of engagement with what you are, the conversation that you're having, the information that you're engaging with, or the environment that you're engaging with, if your engagement is not very good, you're not going to feel much different. So your level of engagement, if you're trying to learn something, is very important. There's a big difference between focusing on something with some of your attention versus all of your attention. The more you fully and solely engage with a topic or a teaching to the detriment of everything else, the more fully you will switch to that timeline and receive all corresponding realizations, thoughts, emotions, and experiences. That is what is important. If you fully engage with something that you want to learn to the detriment of everything else, that means that no part of you is distracted. You are giving this thing your full focus. That means that you are fully engaging with that reality. That is when you will receive the corresponding realizations, thoughts, emotions, and experiences. That's when you're going to learn it and experience it. So that's super important. If you want to learn to embody a teaching, engage with it so deeply to the degree that any and all doubt disappears. And this will allow you to genuinely learn to switch timelines. Because when you are switching timelines, so you're using your imagination which is detached, right? There's no distractions. You're using your imagination to visit a reality of your choosing and fully engage with it and embody it now. That's the same. It's like exactly the same process. It's just your level of focus and attention. Is there some distraction in the background? Is there a belief under there keeping you from fully engaging? Is there part of your attention that is somewhere else? Okay. So, very good to learn. Inspired action. Okay. Full engagement with a new timeline will inspire you to new and different actions to keep you engaged. You will know if as you raise your vibration, instead of your subconscious blocks being invisible to you, they will become more prevalent for you to see, hear, and examine them. This is when you will have the awareness to choose, drop, or change what has been holding you back. So when you're fully engaged with something, you are going to notice when you have an inspiration to act in a certain direction or do in a different direction. This is about noticing subtle little changes that exist within you. That these subtle little changes and subtle little feelings that change within you, that is the time you shifting timelines and how to follow that and how to ignore everything else because you know that you don't have to identify with anything in particular. Okay? So there's one more thing that I wanted to say to you guys. I studied the Tibetan Book of the Dead because apparently there's a lot of spiritualists who study the art of dying their entire life. And I will tell you why this is so cool is because it literally has to do with dying to the illusion and dying to the ego so that you are not caught up in the illusion and in the ego and having all these experiences that we don't want. I think it's just like another take on it. Now, here it is. Okay. You can liberate yourself by recognizing the illusory nature of the things that you see, that it all comes from you, and this requires courage. There are 4 words. This kind of goes back to the idea of oneness, that everything comes from you. You really can liberate yourself when you are able to put together that I had a thought and it created that, and that's the manifestation of the thought that I had. When you can put that together, no matter what you see, you can say to yourself to help yourself escape the illusion, these 4 words. I put this here. I put this here. I put this here. I put this here. That is me. Everything is me. It doesn't matter how big or bad something is. If you realize it's just something, a direct construct that literally just come from your mind, then there's literally no reason why you can't change it to something else or put yourself somewhere else. So that's a really important thing. And I think, here's what people ask. They're like, how do I stay in this place where I know how to do this? And I'm this person who knows these things. And literally it's number 1 is ego death. And that's what I was talking about from the beginning, where you literally learn the difference between who you are versus your emotions, your thoughts, your stories, your, identification with your ego versus who you really truly are, which is you are the eternal, indestructible watcher consciousness, just straight up consciousness, who cannot be affected by any of it. And you are eternal, indestructible being. You cannot be affected. And you have the ability to do and be and have access to any information that you want. It doesn't matter what information you don't think that you know right now. You do have access to infinite information. But are you going to become the version of yourself who is that? And then the other way that you can keep this going, it's literally just habit. And how much are you engaging with that version of you? On what dimensions of your reality? On what dimensions of your internal reality, your thought reality, your emotional reality? How, like, are you reconstructing yourself to make this like the new operating system that is you? And is that translating to physical engagement? And is that translating to physical habits that you're developing? And is that translating to the way that you live your life on a day-to-day basis? So you're creating not only your reality, you're creating yourself, the version of you who knows how to navigate this reality and navigate into timelines and dimensions and realities that you want, and then away from the ones that you don't want to continue creating. Do you know how to disengage? Let me see what else I've got here. Okay, so I think this one thing when I need to break out of a reality is really, really helpful. So we think that there's all kinds of reasons why things happen, and there's no reason why a thing happens except for the vibration that you're in. So if you are in a vibration, whatever that vibration is, everything that is commensurate with that vibration is going to happen, and nothing is going to stop it. And inversely, if you are in a vibration, like there's nothing that you can do, or that nothing that anyone else can do that can stop what is meant to happen from happening. So the only reason, so it's not because I ate too much. It's not because I'm stinky. It's not because I didn't work out yesterday. It's not because you got hit by a car. It's not because you got sick. You didn't get sick because you were in the rain. There's no reason why a thing happens. Okay, you can literally manifest realities where things don't make sense. I don't get sick anymore. That doesn't make any sense. I like manifested myself to look younger. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like there's a lot of things that I've been able to manifest that don't make sense. There's a lot of people manifest that don't make sense. There's no reason why a thing happens except what you believe, the vibration that you're in. So if you know that you want to change something, don't say it's because XYZ whatever happened. It's because you're in a timeline, a reality, a vibration where that thing is going to happen no matter what, and nothing's going to stop it. You can also use this to your advantage. So if you know that you're in a reality where you're aligned with a thing and there's something threatening, like the thing that you want, like it doesn't matter. That thing does not matter. Just like what I used to say, like, I don't care if there's a pussy in his face. Like, I don't care how many women try to take my man, and I don't care if they're all naked, and I don't care if they all want him. It's not going to happen. It just won't happen. And guess what? Never fucking happens. So, like, you have to know that. And when you're not identified with a victim, human interpretation, ego of yourself, then, and when you're identified with a version of you who knows that you create your own reality, who knows how these things work, and who witnesses them and does them, and this is just the you that you foster and be in your daily life, you're going to be able to do whatever it is that you want, and it's not going to matter. And there's lots of people living in realities that are just like this. It's like when it rains, it pours. There's no reason for having money. There's no reason for not having money besides the vibration, the reality that you're in. You can manifest a reality where no matter what I do, money just falls on me and comes to me, and there's nothing that I can do about it. It just comes to me from all these people give me money. I win money. I accidentally, some relative that I don't even know gave me some kind of inheritance that I've never even heard of. Like they found oil on my property. Like I just can't stop the money coming in. It's just the reality that you're in. And when you're disidentified with the human construct, the human time-space reality, and the human ego and memories and all of that, all the limitations that we blindly accept that you should not accept, because there's so much bullshit out there in the hologram. When you really know this, you're kind of indestructible because you can't be thrown off and get snagged by the illusion that tells you that there's a reason for something that is not the reason for the thing. There's only one reason. That reason is God. What is God? God is energy. God is you. God is the source consciousness where everything comes from. And it's all one. Yes, there is no time. By the way, there is no time. You create time. Time is an experience that you create. You can go to another timeline where there's another thing happening, experience that now, bring it into your now, and you've brought that timeline over here. That's time travel. And you can experience these things as extreme as you want to experience them, as long as you go down the pathway to engaging with it more, believing in it more, pushing the envelope, pushing limits, challenging limits. If anyone or anything, if anyone says anything limiting to you, you can challenge that limitation and see what kind of reality that you come up with. What other people do, other people, has nothing to do with you. This is something that seems to conflict with knowing that everything is you. Well, there's two different yous, aren't there? There's the ego version of you that you may identify with, whatever ego version that may be. And then there's the real you that's just a watcher. So what other people do have nothing to do with the eternal you that is the watcher, that's the real you. The ego, fake you, is the one who comes up with all of these stories that, oh yeah, here's why this is happening, here's why that's happening, that person's a this, and that, and I did this, and this is my fault. That's all story, not real. Therefore, subject to change. Anything that is an illusion can change and is subject to change. That's how you know what's real and what's not. So the eternal watcher is there no matter what's happening. No matter what dimension that you're in, no matter if you're dead or alive, no matter what reality that you may be thinking of or what story that you're entertaining, the watcher is always there, never changes. Emotions change, thoughts change, stories change, past, present, future, ideas change, everything else changes. So this is really just about, what other people are doing have nothing to do with me, what other people thinking have nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter the story. It doesn't matter the perspective. None of those things have anything to do with me, the eternal watcher. I can traverse into any reality that I want. None of this has to do with me. No force in the universe, because you're the only force in the universe that there is, in your universe. No force in the universe can affect an outcome you are aligned with. And then just make sure that you are disidentifying with the time-space linear construct of being human. Because if you want something to happen, you want a person, and you just keep thinking. So here's the thing. Let's say that like this morning, you timeline shift into a different version of reality where you're good and your person's good and everything's great. But then because you interpret yourself and believe yourself to be a human from a time-space reality that has a one linear past, you keep reaching out into the past and remembering the past and using it to define your now, and that forms your expectations of the future, and then you bring that horseshit version of yourself and your person back into your now, and you keep reliving it over and over again. So have you been on like this, I'm on like a loop, like this thing keeps happening, I'm on a loop and this thing keeps, so what is going on? Because there's definitely, if something is on a loop, there's something definitely wrong with that, and something's not real or right about this. It's because you're identified with a past that isn't really you, and a version of you that's not really you, and a version of them that's not really them, and a version of reality that's not really reality. Okay, so here's what I got going on right now. Because this is like this whole escaping the matrix and shifting timelines, like quantum leaping and pushing the envelope and taking this as far as we can go with this. This is what I want to do. This is my I want to take this as far as we can go. So in celebration of that, and just kind of like coming out with all this new stuff to talk about and these new ideas and pushing this, I am doing a I put a flash sale for some one-on-one sessions. Those are not going to be up for much longer, but they're up today. That's in the description below. Also, again, you have the opportunity to join Super Life, where this is about bringing your avatar to life. So you get to ditch the current version of you avatar that is fucking up your life and fucking up your relationships and fucking up everything else. And I'm going to go through it with you and show you how to adopt an avatar version of yourself that knows how to traverse realities and timelines, and that you can choose to identify with, that works for you, not against you. And this is something that we do as a group activity. It's pretty fun. This month, I'm introducing Mystic. And Mystic is the great summoner. So, if you want to manifest reality, you're summoning things into your awareness, into your being, into your consciousness, into your experience, right? So that's pretty cool. And the idea with Mystic, the archetype of Mystic, is she can have any ability that you want her to have. So already with me, like I started, when I was thinking about Mystic, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I started actually experiencing these abilities and just having all these psychic abilities flashing. And like, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And that's literally how it works. So we're doing that today. If you want to join, I'm going to put I have to put that link below, but look for the link below. And like I said, the flash sale is almost over, but do comment and ask questions and let me know what you want to know about this subject and what you want me to cover, because we're going to keep diving deep into this. And I freaking love it. And also share your experiences with me. I will see you in the next video.